Hi, my name is Consuelo Naranjo. I am a journalist from Ecuador, South America, and currently I am doing my master's with DCLead, Digital Communicationship Leadership Program. Today, I would like to talk to you more about my thesis project, Netflix in Latin America. You may wonder why you chose a Netflix, and is actually Latin America important? Well, I grew up with soap operas and grandmothers. Narratives were a constant a part of my life. If you are or you live in California, especially in Los Angeles, you may have a connection now with the Hispanic community, and maybe you understand why telenovelas and series are not just important for our culture, but are part of our economy and information intake. In the past, when internet as we know globally did not exist, we used to consume content by listening to the radio. Later, along with cable, antennas, and satellites, we were able to watch TV. Local content was prominent in each country, with few exceptions. For example, France always battled years ago against Hollywood in the race to show their local content. In the case of South America, it was a little bit different. Sadly, South America always struggled with corruption, economic crisis, and somehow South America became this group of developing countries trying to survive. However, we also had a really good content related to our culture and our language. And to talk about it more, I would like to mention, for example, Televisa. Televisa is also known as the Fábrica de Sueños, or the Factory of Dreams, where most of the soap operas were created, and also series that flew and were exported to other countries like Colombia and Ecuador, where I come from. So, for instance, I decided to understand more about how content developed through the years to now, how we actually use content and enjoy from series or movies. And that brings us to Netflix. We have seen the process of cord-cutting, meaning that people are not paying for television, cable, or antenna subscriptions anymore, and they cut literally their subscriptions or plans, and now they decide to use a platform or a video streaming window. For example, Netflix, Disney Plus that's coming now, or Amazon Prime. In 1997, Netflix was born with a trademark in over 190 countries, with more than 183 million paid subscribers globally. This video streaming company has changed the way that individuals consume visual content. Also, it has changed the way that we do business models and develop somehow social behaviors. But what is Netflix? Some social researchers have called it a platform, others an online distribution. However, Netflix itself called this company as a online movie rental service that is leading the way for digital content. For instance, in my literature review, I decided to talk more about Netflix as a platform, is actually a platform or no, as a business model in terms of distribution, and as a producer. One of the key factors of Netflix and how it's changing our world is that fast forward in 2019, this American company, in addition of sharing audiovisual content with the public, it became a top level content producer. How? Just in 2019, won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Director, Best Foreign Language Film, and Best Cinematographic for Roma. Roma is a Spanish language autobiographical Mexican film narrative. And that is huge because that means somehow that actually Latin American content it had crossed the barriers of language and also cultural. For instance, I understood that Netflix can be described in many ways as a big data processor, as the Millennium Colossus that is competing to Hollywood, but also, for example, in Netflix Nations, the Geography of Digital Distribution, Ramon Lobato argues that Netflix means different things to different people. It can be a global media business data or a cultural gatekeeper. To understand more about it, I decided to propose two main questions related to internationalization, imperialism, and content in Latin America. First, you may wonder why Latin America. Well, I come from Latin America. I come from Ecuador. I understand somehow the market, and I believe, sadly, Latin America had become the forgotten land. People consume somehow our content or our narratives like narcos. They may be true or not, or maybe they may be stereotypical, but it's somehow narratives that come from Colombia, for example, or from Mexico. And the soap operas as well that are promoted in Netflix. So I want to understand if actually Netflix, in the first research question, is Netflix changing the way that individuals in Latin America consume visual content? And the second one is Netflix actually influencing positive or negative the local production in Mexican, Colombian, and Ecuadorian media markets? And that is extremely important because in terms of internationalization, in 2009, Netflix decided to expand its streaming wings internationally, first offering service in Canada and subsequently in Latin America in 2011. Why Canada first? Because it was a territorial strategic. Canada has English also as a main language, as a second language French, but English was the common background. And then Latin America, because of course we're somehow in the same territory. And in Latin America, it expanded to 42 countries, not just South, but Central America. And Brazil was the headquarters. Now Mexico actually is the headquarters of Netflix, because now Mexico is the country producing more local content with Netflix than no one else in the world. I chose a different methodology for this approach. I am a journalist, I'm used to interviewing people, and I thought that was the best way to do it. And I decided to do a qualitative methodology, research with interviewing and observation. And for that, I structured interviews, 10 interviews per country: Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador. Why Mexico? Because we know it's one of the main producers. The second main producer currently in Latin America is Colombia. And the third one, Ecuador, because it's a really, really small market. There are no much support for the local production. However, it's a market that I know and it may help in the future. So the time frame for my data trip ranged between June 20 and June 27. Currently, I am finishing my literature review and editing my methodology. And of course, this study aims to analyze Netflix connection with and influence in Latin America in terms of media itself as a content, but also as a social niche. I will use video recording interviews. I have already a set of questions divided in subgroups. Of course, I create maybe 50 to 70 questions, and with the help of professors in UCLA, like Professor Leah Libru, who had been amazing and extremely supportive, we decided to have sub-questions and do this structure but observation interview with people where I can talk to them on Skype between 15 and 20 minutes and maybe ask another couple of questions depending in the area and the environment that I see. I can ask them to interact with the platform and see how is their connection and what they actually think about the local content itself and if they feel okay with it or not. I don't know yet. I'm in the process to do the interviews hopefully soon, and I will let you know after I get the results. After obtaining the interviews, the content will be translated to English, of course, because the interviews needs to be in Spanish, and they will be verified with an official translator that it will be funded by me, the primary researcher. But something really important about this research had been understand new terms that I never thought before, not just as someone that is doing a master's program, but as a regular user. What is actually a platform? Many people believe a platform is the physical stand that you are in when you wait a train. But currently, we use the word platform to everything from social media to applications that actually may not be a platform. Content as a good, is content really important? Distribution theories, not just as a media producer, but in terms of digitalization, how they work. Does Latin America actually matters? Netflix strategies as a producer, as a distributor, and new approach to preserve the local content, and that will be, I will compare it for sure with the 30% quota the European Commission decided almost 2 years ago to propose and actually force to Netflix, meaning that if Netflix wants to work and wants to stay in the territory of the European Commission members, they are obligated to produce and show 30% of their local content in the platform or in this digital window. The data so far that we have from Netflix is that they show 80 to 85% of Hollywood content, American content. And that can be actually extremely harmful for the culture and the local producers at the end of the day, because also, for example, Ecuador do not have a platform or a company like Netflix. Ecuador does not have the technology to create it. They don't have the investors. So that brings developing countries far away from the game and monopolize not just content, but actually a platform that can distribute other type of soap operas and movies. In terms of limitations due to the time and location constraints, this investigation will be focused exclusively in Mexico, Colombia, and Ecuador, and the relations and interactions with Netflix. Of course, it would be ideal to talk about every single country in Latin America from south to central. However, it's not possible right now, but maybe other researchers can do that in the future. Other issue is that I was not able to find many publications related with Netflix in Latin America. Of course, we have a lot of researchers that are talking about Netflix as a platform, as a company, as a producer, but not many focus in Latin America. What is happening in Latin America? That is a limitation, but that can be also a plus, because as I see it, somehow it's still a forgotten land. Also, COVID-19 really hit hard in terms of research investigation. I plan to go for 3 months to Los Angeles, to UCLA, and I already contact people that could interview that are connected to Netflix, or they were former workers, or are doing analysis with them. And I thought maybe because it's close, I can travel to Mexico and then to Ecuador and Colombia because they're closing borders. However, we got stuck in Europe, so I've been doing everything from abroad. I hope my results are significant in terms of social difference, technological divisions, and they actually show the reality of local content in Latin America. To finish, I would like to share more about myself, what I do, and about the DCLead program. So I am a journalist. I work in the field for 7 years. I left my homeland when I was 17 years old as an exchange student, and then I was able, luckily, to have my undergrad at Florida International University, FIU in Miami, Florida. And since then, I've been working as a writer, reporter, news anchor, and currently I actually collaborate in an international organization in a morning digital show. And I am also 100% dedicated to DCLead, that is Digital Communication Leadership Program. This program is really special because it connects you with other partner universities. So our home university is University of Salzburg in Austria. And we enjoy the first semester there with a lot of hard work, and we meet other people in different fields in communication. That can be technology, Then, depending of your specialization, you travel to another partner university. In my case, I went to VUV in Brussels, Belgium, that is the heart of the European Union, where you learn a lot about politics. And there I specialized in policy and innovation in Europe. And for a fourth semester, we're able to go to another partner university. And I was lucky enough to be selected at UCLA as a visiting graduate researcher for the information science department. And it had been amazing. I met online a lot of smart, brilliant, and hard dedicated people who are in love with content, media, and also information science and the new digital world. And I definitely invite you to be part of DCLead, and this program is open to everybody. And having the opportunity to travel every semester to a different university with a different background is a bigger asset in any professional career. For example, in Brussels, the local language is Deutsch and French. So I had some French courses before going there. Currently, I'm taking German classes every day, and I think that brings you ahead to wherever you want to go. If you have any questions about my research or you want to know the results in a couple of weeks, you can email me at cnaranjolara@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.